if you weren't able to attend my back to school night, I just wanted to record some quick information about what we covered for you. So first off, we just did a quick tour of my Google site. So if you haven't yet had a chance to look through it, there's some great information and resources for both you and your students. So I recommend just kind of taking a look through, exploring some of the sub pages that are here. And it has great information about class expectations, some helpful links, the class newsletter, the syllabus is on here. So great information that you may be interested in viewing. You can find this website through my teacher web. So if you're on the Summit Intermediate School, you can go to teacher websites, 7th grade, and Miss Dasher. And on here, I have linked some important information. So we have my Google site website, our little virtual Bitmoji classroom, as well as the parent guardian survey that parents filled out at the end of back to school night. So for my presentation, just to give you a little bit of a preview, I am the language arts and social studies teacher. Oops. That was the schedule. You don't need to know that. Some quick announcements. The district initiatives. So they were really focused on language development for English learners, for language arts specifically, as well as universal access, which it goes by UA, and that is that tiered instruction. So this year, everything looks a little bit different with the virtual learning, and Shark Academy is our replacement for that virtually. Engagement is a really big district initiative as well, and I plan to continue this virtually. We have been doing Zoom breakout rooms, and we've had some really great success with that social engagement, as well as using Kagan strategies and other academic engagement. Culturally responsive schools and classrooms is another district initiative that is so important, making sure students feel recognized and validated by their culture, and that classrooms are places of respect and positivity. Shark Academy, that is going to be similar to the UA model. So students will be referred to this class based on varied assessment criteria. At the moment, it's a small group. So there's one for language arts and one for math. Students can be added and removed from Shark Academy as needed. And if your student is not currently in it, they will also have similar work to do during this independent practice period. Yearbook, if you didn't have a chance to purchase one last year, it's your chance now. There are some available to purchase in the office, as well as there will be a yearbook produced for this school year, and more information on how to order it and what that will look like will come soon. A little bit about me. I grew up in the Rancho Cucamonga area, and I attended both elementary and middle schools in this district. I graduated from the University of La Verne with my bachelor's, my teaching credential, and more recently, my master's in education. This will be my 3rd year teaching 7th grade, and it's been my absolute favorite grade to teach, and it will be my 5th year in the classroom. I came from teaching high school, actually. This group of students is extra special for me because it will be the last school year that I'm going by Miss Dasher. And if everything goes according to plan, COVID-19 related, I will be getting married next May. And these kids are getting off lucky because my married name, will be a little bit more difficult to pronounce. So I'm just so looking forward to an exciting and engaging year and making the best and staying a positive during this time. Communication, I showed you a little bit about my Google site that is linked through my Summit teacher page. The best way to reach me is by email, and you can find this email on my teacher website, really all over. Remind is also another great option. There will be class updates sent out through Remind, and you can also send me messages. And what's great is both phone numbers are completely protected through Remind. And so the class code to join is Dasher SIS. Summit PBIS for virtual learning. did adjust expectations because it looks different through Zoom than it would in the classroom. So these are just some of the expectations, and especially having students turn their cameras on, and that way we can monitor their learning. We're able to have that face-to-face connection, and I know that your student is at their desk and they're participating and not, outside doing something else. Access to grades. The Aries portal will be how you can check your students' grades. I recommend encouraging your student to check their grades with you as well. I will be giving time during class, typically a warm-up for them to log in and check, because I just really feel like they need to be building that age-appropriate responsibility. You can also have a weekly progress email sent to you at a preferred day and time through the Aries notifications. Google Classroom notifications are another option where you can receive a weekly summary email of your students, turned in assignments, as well as if there's anything that is late or missing. And you can request this access through the parent survey that you will receive at the end. Language arts curriculum. There are 3 different units that we covered. We are currently going to be starting Unit 1 this next Monday. So for the language arts units, we are using the StudySync curriculum that has both a workbook as well as a online textbook. And so some of these parts that we will be looking at are reading, writing, vocabulary, and grammar, as well as looking at texts that are often an excerpt of a larger novel. Each unit will include a writing project and a final unit test, and students will be annotating and answering text-dependent questions. Some library resources that Etiwanda School District has put together is the Renaissance Home Connect, where you can check in on AR points and checking to see if a book is an AR book, as well as the AR Book Finder. So these are some great tools for you to help your child with reading, as well as I put together some virtual library resources. So I know we're not in a physical library to where students can check out a physical book, but I do want them to have access to ebooks and audiobooks. And so this is on my Google Classroom as well as my website. And some of these resources are the Rancho Cucamonga Public Library. If you have a library card, you're able to access their database of ebooks and audiobooks that can be checked out. The Etiwanda School District has something similar called Sora. So your student can access these books for free with their Etiwanda account. Epic Books is a similar program, and I have also put together a collection of audiobooks. Reading is going to be such an important part of your student's day. I recommend at least 20 minutes a day, and students will have a reading goal to meet for trimester 1. Now, I highly encourage students to take an AR test after they finish reading. However, I will not be assigning a grade based off of AR tests. I know that they can be a really great resource for some students and a stressor for others. So it just doesn't meet the learning needs of all students. And I would much rather have a student engaged in a book that interests them than be stressed about taking a test afterwards. So they will be choosing 5 books for trimester 1. That will be their reading goal. And they'll be completing a book review and a summary for each. I'll be checking in along the way through reading logs, and just verbal check-ins to see how it's progressing. Students more recently took a reading interest survey in class, and they'll be choosing their first book to read this next week. Social studies curriculum. So what we're going to be looking at as we travel throughout the world in medieval times is we're starting off in the Islamic civilization in the Arabian Peninsula. We'll be working into medieval Africa, China, Japan, Europe, covering the Renaissance and Reformation, and then going across to the Americas in Central and South America. And we'll end in early modern times with the age of exploration and enlightenment, which will prepare them and set them up for 8th grade. Social studies curriculum, there's going to be a variety of different methods that will be administered virtually, such as direct instruction. They will be using a digital notebook to take notes, group work through Zoom breakout rooms, various projects, independent work, videos, history investigations, and other computer-based assignments. Some possible independent practice assignments that you may see for your child, and they are going to be using the time that is structured into their virtual schedule to complete these assignments. So the hope is that if they're using that time wisely, they shouldn't have any extended homework per se outside of the school day. So for language arts, reading for 20 minutes, it could be text-dependent questions, annotations, writing assignments, Greek and Latin roots, vocabulary, or IXL or no red ink skill lessons. For social studies, each chapter will start off with vocabulary and a map, as well as you'll see inquiry assignments, readings, projects, and study guides. Independent practice assignments can be viewed on both my website and the weekly agenda posted to Google Classroom. Grading is a district-wide grading category. So homework will be 10%. That's at independent practice. Classwork will be 25. Quizzes and projects are 30, and the tests will be the largest chunk at 35. And then again, a traditional grading scale, so the normal breakdown of the A, B, C, and D. Test corrections. Since the tests are the biggest chunk of a student's grade, I highly recommend that they are utilizing test corrections. And so if they score lower than a 70%, they're able to complete these test corrections. That form will be available to them on Google Classroom, and they're just able to go through, see what they missed, correct it, and reflect on how they can better prepare themselves for future tests. Students will be able to earn back half a point per corrected question and to earn that maximum new score of 70%. Conferences will look different this year. They will be virtually on Zoom, and I will be sending out a digital sign-up link through email as we get closer, and your student will be attending virtually with you as well. These are just a few different apps. Aries, School Messenger, and the Etiwana District app are available to you to stay in the know. And then now I want to give you guys the opportunity. You're going to fill out that parent survey. You can use this link. It's a shortened link here. Or if you hold your phone's camera up to this QR code here, that'll be able to scan it and take you to that form also. If not, I will link it on my website and you can view it there. Thank you so much. Have a great night.